want to show you how I changed the clock capacitor on an OG Xbox. So on the first, I think up to from 1.0 to 1.4 motherboard revisions, there's a capacitor on here that controls the clock, and you know when it's bad, every time you unplug the console and plug it back in, it'll ask you what the time is. And the capacitor is located right here on the board, if you can see that. It does look fine, but most of the time they're bad. They're notorious for going bad. Here's another one right here. As you can see, it's kind of started corroding a little bit underneath of it. Usually it starts underneath and it starts corroding all over the board. It's just pretty standard to just replace them anyway, even though they might be fine, they'll die eventually. I have some new capacitors here somewhere, if I can find them. Capacitors, got these from eBay. These are pretty nice capacitors. I like these. So first things first, you gotta make sure you install them the right way, because if you don't, well, then it's gonna have reverse continuity. And that's not good. A capacitor's job is to help distribute power evenly on the board. And if you know how circuitry works, well, that's kind of self-explanatory. The stripe facing outward. Little stripe on the capacitor facing outward. First thing I want to do, grab me a pair of scissors and cut the legs short. About right there is fine. I'll show you how to remove this. I have my soldering iron here. This tip, on one side, the tip sucks in solder, and the other side ejects it. Really handy dandy iron here. Find the little 2 points in the back, which is going to be, so the points are going to be right there. So I put a little bit of heat on each point one at a time and kind of wiggle it out. Melt the solder. This is super easy to do because OG Xboxes, they have lead solder. 360s are a pain because they have leaded solder. You just be gentle with it and it'll come out on its own. Be patient. Don't shake. You're fine. Here we go. So like the entire capacitor that does start warming up because the heat will radiate, but it did start corroding a little bit. This console in particular was in bad shape. Okay. New capacitor. Remember, the stripe side is pointing outwards, so I'm gonna try to line it up. This part's a little tricky because you gotta kind of line it up and hold it at the same time, which I might not be able to do on camera, but I will try. Okay, I got one in the hole. Okay, here we go. Okay, you put one leg in, and the other should follow suit, unless you're in my shoes. It's not going to. Make sure it's all the way down. Okay, that looks a bit good. Now, let me grab a little flathead screwdriver so I can, because the legs are kind of crossing over. Now, I did accidentally suck up a little bit of solder when I did this, so pull the legs apart, have them facing opposite directions, makes it look a little bit more professional. You can also use flux too. It might help you if you want to use flux, but I don't need flux for this. Since the solder is easy to melt, we'll just add a little bit of solder to the hole. Make sure it's got plenty of contact. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to add just a little tiny bit of solder to this. Just a little bit, just a hair. A little bit more. Sorry, I like to make sure this is soldered nice and good. There you go. As you can see, where is it? Right there. Right there. So that's how you replace a clock capacitor on an early OG Xbox.